Every day on this channel, we go through everything that the official President of the United States account posted, as well as the President posted on his personal account without a political bias or narrative. I'm your host, Isaac, and let's get right into it. All right, starting off with the most substantial thing, huge announcement. Donald Trump says, please be informed that we will no longer let the American public be ripped off by credit card companies that are charging interest rates of 20 to 30%. And he says, effective January 20th, 2026, I, as President of the United States, am calling for a one-year cap on credit card interest rates of 10%. Coincidentally, the January 20th date will coincide with the one-year anniversary of the historic and very successful Trump administration. Thank you for your attention to this matter. Make America great again. Donald Trump announced this policy about a year ago, and Bernie Sanders said that he would co-sponsor that in Congress. So it looks like it's becoming reality. Oh, and also Donald Trump is having mortgage reform, and Trump is now ordering the buying of $200 billion in mortgage bonds. And he shares this chart of the mortgage rates dropping below 6% for the first time in 4 years. And you can see here that yesterday when he announced that he's buying $200 billion in mortgage bonds, the mortgage rate dropped for the biggest drop in 5 years. And he says you can read about his incredible prosperity unleashed upon America in this book, written by Art Laffer and Stephen Moore, titled The Trump Economic Miracle. And he announces that manufacturing productivity is booming since Trump took office. You can see Q4 of 2024 was at negative 0.6. Now it's up to 3.3 per the Council of Economic Advisors. And he also shares that numbers released today show that the United States of America has the lowest trade deficit since 2009 and going even lower. And he says in addition, our nation's gross domestic product is predicted to come in at over 5%, and that is after losing at least 1.5% to the Democratic shutdown. He says these are incredible numbers. He also quotes Mark Penn, who said this is the strongest economic growth since 1990. And he also said our country would be Venezuela on steroids if it weren't for President Donald J. Trump. And he also reposts the White House, who posts the same statistic about the lowest trade deficit since 2009. He also just finished a great meeting with the very successful Intel CEO Lip Bhutan. He says Intel just launched the first sub-2 nanometer CPU processor designed, built, and packaged right here in the United States. And regarding the military, he says we have the greatest soldiers in the world. We have the greatest equipment in the world, and nobody can match us. And this is from his recent sit-down interview with Sean Hannity. He also says that today, the United States of America, in coordination with the interim authorities of Venezuela, seized an oil tanker which departed Venezuela without our approval. This tanker is now on the way back to Venezuela, and the oil will be sold through the great energy deal which we have created for such sales. Thank you for your attention. And he recalls his meeting with Gustavo Petro, the president of Colombia. He says, I'm sure it's going to work out very well for Colombia and the USA, but cocaine and other drugs must be stopped from coming into the United States. He also talked about Venezuela releasing large numbers of political prisoners as a sign of seeking peace with the United States. He says he's canceled the previously expected second wave of attacks, which looks like it's not going to be needed. However, all ships will stay in place for safety and security purposes. At least $100 billion will be invested by Big Oil, all of whom I will be meeting with today at the White House. And he talks about all the things that Biden ignored, such as open borders, runaway inflation, and the Afghanistan disaster. He said that Biden left the military in chaos and confusion, and everything was broken. And then he goes on to talk about buying $200 billion in mortgage bonds with the aim of driving mortgage rates down, saying that he's going to bring back the American dream that was destroyed by the last administration. He calls to free Tina Peters. And if you guys want to educate me on who Tina Peters is, that would be awesome in the comment section below. And he mentioned this previously, but he hosted the largest oil companies in the world. And he also talks about his interview with Sean Hannity on Fox Now, as well as calling out incompetent California leaders headed by Gavin Newsom. He says they're absolutely unable to get people permits to rebuild their homes. All federal permits have been issued and received long ago. Also, he highlights a featured portrait at the National Portrait Gallery. You can see that right here. Trump's looking mighty handsome for his 79-year-old. I think he's 79. He shares a video of over 1 million people. This is Iran's second largest city under protesters' control, and the regime was forced to leave. You can see that massive amount of people right here in Iran. Look at all those cars right there. And moving on to endorsements, he endorsed Mega Degenfelder because she is considering launching a campaign to be the next governor of the great state of Wyoming. Her family's been in Wyoming for 6 generations, and she served her community her entire life. And finally, he reposted this from the White House, who said, to the brave men and women of law enforcement, today and every day we stand with you. We thank you for your service, sacrifice, and unwavering commitment to keeping America safe. And that was everything that Trump talked about today. It seems like to me he's trying to rebrand himself as some sort of populist candidate, focusing on more populist economic policies, such as capping interest rates at 10%, buying down the mortgage, and just overall government intervention. I'm curious what you guys think about this. Sorry the video was a little late today. I've been filling in for Jacob, so kind of threw this together. If you guys want to support the channel, consider subscribing. Helps out a ton, and I am out.